close out, but I did mention I wanted to get into the Jameis Winston deep ball, and I have a clip from Deonte Harris, Deonte Hardy. Darn it. Deonte Hardy.
We're going to do fines for every time you say Hardy this.
He catches the easiest looking touchdowns that you'll ever see. He'll just be 70 yards down the field, and he never has anyone within 8 yards of him. And when it's coming from Jameis, it just always looks like he's just running the exact same speed the entire way, and he just puts his hands up in front of him, and the ball's in it, and then he keeps going.
That's the thing of beauty for sure, when it just dropped right in there.
It is, and he can run that route as well as anybody, but he's not a guy who can come back and win a jump. He's not a guy who's going to out-jump anybody. He's 5'6", so you have to be able to lay the ball out in front of him and let him run under it. And it's something that Jameis does as well as anybody. We asked Deonte about that.
Oh, yeah, no, we got in the huddle, and Jameis knew he wanted to throw it. So he told me exactly what to do, and just went out there and did it. I think I owed him one, too, because I dropped that one the other day, so I definitely owed him one.
How good is Jameis at throwing it deep? From guys you played with, how good is he with the deep ball?
Nah, I never lose stride with Jameis, so, I got faith in his arm. I trust his arm, and he always accurate when it's downfield. So, good deep ball.
I love when he said, too, I owed him one.
Yeah, it's funny because it wasn't actually Jameis that threw that other one. It was Andy Dalton. I think it was on the first or second day of practice. But, yeah, he was wide open. Andy laid it in there. He had the ball, and then Alontae Taylor knocked it away, and he kind of chucked it downfield. But, yeah, so this was the play that happened yesterday. It was around 50, 60 yards. It was actually against Justin Evans, my guy. Coming out of the slot, Justin was in the nickel, and before you could even blink, Deonte was just to the post. And Jameis, say what you want about his short yardage accuracy, and some of the decisions he might make. Outside of maybe a Pat Mahomes, maybe Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if there's a quarterback in the NFL that throws a better deep ball, a prettier deep ball, a more accurate deep ball than Jameis. And you really see it on those Deonte Harris touchdowns. And you remember, he's done it in games. He had a 50-something yarder against the Packers in week 1 last year. He had a 70-yarder against the Washington football team, now the Washington Commanders. And so that those are game-changing type plays. If you remember the one against Washington, he threw kind of a bad interception in that game. And then the next drive came back, all of a sudden, over the top Deonte touchdown. And that was an ugly start to a game that, now you look back and you're like, wow, the Saints kind of dominated that game. He also had a Hail Mary in that game to Marquez Callaway. It's one of his best skills. And I hope the Saints take full advantage of it.
Yeah. And with Hardy, he's one guy that I would worry about his touches on the offense this year, just because of the increase in talent on the wide receiving core. We talked about, I mentioned, I'm thinking Troutman's going to have a breakout year, and not worried about if his touches are going to be there, kind of thing. But for me, there's just so many guys at the wide receiver position. I think Hardy's really going to make his mark, and where he was an all-pro as a rookie in the return game. And he even mentioned that I got to score more. I got to score more this season, because he didn't have a return at all a year ago. And he's just one of those guys, though, that anytime he does field the ball, you feel like the stadium kind of takes that hold your breath kind of approach, and you're just waiting to see what he can do, because he's got that ability to be gone.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks game comes to mind in his rookie season. But he's also in a contract year, and then so when he says I need to score more, I think that's a big part of it, because
you need the Bucks more too, right?
He needs to prove that he is more than just a returner. And I think he is. I think he is limited in what he can do over the middle of the field, as you will always be as a 5'6" guy in the NFL. But yeah, I think he is more than just a kick returner. The question is whether the Saints are willing to pay him like he's more than just a kick returner. And I would wager they would rather not. I think that's why you have a Rashid Shaheed on the roster. But we haven't seen him yet. So
I was going to say, it's tough when you haven't even seen him do anything yet.